the traffic stop that uncovered a horror no one expected. It was 2:17 a.m. when Officer Mark Ellison flipped on his lights. The highway was nearly empty, just a few trucks rumbling south toward Louisiana and a white Toyota sedan drifting between lanes. Nothing special, nothing suspicious. Just another tired driver on a long stretch of Interstate 10. He called it in as a routine stop. White female driver, early 30s, no visible passengers. Tag reads Texas plates, expired by 3 months. His voice was calm, steady, the kind of calm you get after 10 years of pulling over people half asleep or half drunk on the road. But as he approached the car, something felt off. The woman didn't roll down her window right away. She just sat there, hands gripping the steering wheel tightly enough that her knuckles turned pale under the faint blue glow of his headlights. When she finally looked up, her expression was empty. Not scared, not angry, just blank. "Evening, ma'am. License and registration, please." Her eyes darted to the rearview mirror before she spoke. "Of course, officer," she said softly, her voice so low it almost blended into the hum of the idling engine. She handed him her license, name, Jessica L. Monroe. The address listed was in Dallas, but the plates were registered in Austin. Ellison took a slow step back toward his cruiser. It wasn't unusual for people to drive borrowed cars, but his gut told him something wasn't right. The interior lights of the Toyota glowed faintly, and through the fogged rear window, he thought he saw something, a shape, maybe a bag, moving slightly. He radioed in again. "Dispatch, I've got possible movement in the back seat. Requesting backup." Within minutes, another patrol unit rolled up, Officer Dana Ruiz, his partner for the night. Together, they approached from opposite sides. Ruiz tapped on the passenger window. "Ma'am, are you traveling alone tonight?" Jessica's hands tightened again. "Yes," she replied quickly. "Too quickly. Mind if we take a look in the trunk?" That's when everything changed. She froze, just a fraction of a second, but long enough for both officers to notice. Her breathing quickened. Her eyes widened. And then she did something neither of them expected. She smiled. It wasn't the nervous smile of someone hiding something minor. It was a slow, eerie grin that didn't reach her eyes. "You don't want to open it," she whispered. Ellison and Ruiz exchanged a look. The kind of look that says we might have just stepped into something much bigger than a traffic violation. "Ma'am, step out of the vehicle," Ruiz ordered firmly. Jessica complied, stepping into the cool night air with strange composure. Her boots crunched against the gravel. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady when she spoke. "I told you not to look." Ellison unlocked the trunk release. A soft click echoed in the silence. He lifted it slowly. At first, all he saw were blankets. A gray tarp. The metallic glint of something heavy underneath. And then the smell hit him. Wrong. He staggered back, hand covering his mouth. Ruiz's flashlight cut through the darkness, and that's when she saw it. 2 large plastic containers, sealed tight with duct tape, liquid seeping through the edges. And beside them, a shoe. Child-sized. Ruiz's voice cracked through the radio. "Dispatch, this is Unit 4B. We need homicide, forensics, and additional units at my location immediately. Possible multiple victims." Jessica didn't run. She didn't cry. She just stood there watching, almost curious. As the sirens drew closer, Ellison noticed her murmuring something under her breath. At first, he thought it was shock. Then he heard the words. They wouldn't stop talking. They wouldn't stop. Officers cuffed her on the spot. When they read her rights, she barely responded. Her eyes were fixed on the trunk, her voice calm again. "You'll understand soon," she said softly. "You'll see why." By the time detectives arrived, the gas station parking lot was sealed off with yellow tape. Forensics started pulling the containers from the trunk, one by one, each one heavier than the last. The medical examiner's face turned grim as he unsealed the first lid. Inside were remains, dismembered, wrapped meticulously in plastic. Whoever did this had taken time, precision. Detective Alan Mercer, the lead investigator, arrived minutes later. He'd seen dozens of crime scenes, but this one had a presence, a weight that pressed down on everyone standing there. He turned to Ellison. "You pulled her over for a broken taillight?" Ellison nodded numbly. Mercer exhaled slowly. "Then you just caught the case of the year." The investigation would later reveal that Jessica Monroe had been missing for weeks before that night. Neighbors thought she'd moved out. Friends said she'd stopped answering calls. But the truth was darker. She'd been driving from city to city, sleeping in that car, the same one that carried her secret everywhere she went. When asked why she didn't run, Jessica only said there was nowhere left to go. By dawn, the parking lot was a maze of flashing lights, reporters gathering at the edges, their cameras capturing every glimpse of the white Toyota, a car that looked perfectly ordinary just hours earlier. But inside that trunk was a horror no one expected, and a mystery that had only just begun. Because when investigators checked the VIN number later that morning, they discovered something that didn't make sense. The car wasn't registered to Jessica Monroe at all. It belonged to a woman reported missing 2 months earlier, and Jessica had no explanation for why she was driving it. By sunrise, the gas station off I-10 looked like a war zone of flashing lights and silence. Yellow tape fluttered in the wind, the kind that turns a place of routine, morning coffee, fuel, and tired travelers into something people avoid for years. Detective Alan Mercer stood near the white Toyota, his notebook open but untouched. The woman inside the back of the squad car, Jessica Monroe, sat perfectly still. Not a tear, not a twitch. Just staring out the window, fog gathering on the glass from her steady breathing. Mercer had seen suspects break down before, liars, manipulators, killers. But not like this. Jessica didn't deny anything. She didn't admit to anything either. When asked if she understood why she was being detained, she just whispered, "Because they found them." The autopsy results came in fast. The 2 bodies found in the trunk were confirmed to be Melissa Crane, 34, and her son Evan, age 7. Both had been missing for nearly 6 weeks. Their last known location? A small rental property outside of Austin, less than 3 miles from where Jessica's last cell phone signal was traced. Mercer flipped through the report again. No signs of forced entry. No neighbors reported screaming. No known connection between Jessica Monroe and Melissa Crane. It didn't make sense. The more Mercer looked into Jessica's life, the less there was to find. The address on her driver's license was fake. The phone number she gave was disconnected. The employer listed, Mira Vista Consulting, didn't exist. Even her social security number traced back to a deceased woman from El Paso. It was as if Jessica Monroe had been built out of air. At 10:14 a.m., Mercer entered interrogation room 3. Jessica sat alone, cuffs off, sipping from a paper cup of water. Her posture was perfect, hands folded neatly in front of her. "Jessica," Mercer began, voice even, "you know why you're here. We found 2 people in your trunk. Melissa and her son, Evan Crane. You want to tell me how they got there?" She didn't flinch. "I was supposed to bring them somewhere safe." "Safe?" Mercer repeated. "Jessica, they were..." He stopped himself. "Where were you taking them?" She looked up at him for the first time. Her eyes were gray-blue, distant. "It doesn't matter now. I failed." Mercer leaned back. "You failed who?" Jessica smiled faintly. "The woman who gave me the car." The words landed like a blade between them. Mercer's pulse quickened. "You mean Melissa? The car belongs to her." Jessica shook her head. "No, the woman who was Melissa." Back at the station, forensic analysts combed through Jessica's car and belongings. Inside the glove compartment, they found a folded map of Texas, old, yellowed, with markings in red pen circling 5 towns. At each circle, one word was written, "Transfer." In the trunk, beneath the spare tire compartment, a hidden compartment was discovered. Inside, a small flash drive wrapped in electrical tape and a single Polaroid photo. The photo showed Jessica standing next to a woman who looked identical to her, except for a small scar above the eyebrow. The timestamp was dated 18 months ago. Mercer gathered his team. "We might be dealing with identity theft, maybe even a mental break. But whoever this woman is, she didn't just snap." Officer Ruiz crossed her arms. "You think she's covering for someone?" "I think," Mercer said. She might be someone else entirely. By noon, the FBI had taken interest. They'd seen cases like this before. People living under false names, witnesses hiding under government programs, former operatives who disappeared. But this was different. Jessica had no federal record, no fingerprints on file, and no birth certificate. When they ran her photo through facial recognition, they got a hit, but not for Jessica Monroe. The match came back as Isabel Kent, a missing research assistant from a private genetics lab in Nevada. She had vanished 2 years ago after the lab was shut down over illegal experimentation charges. Mercer didn't want to believe it, but when he saw the photo, same eyes, same jawline, same faint smile, his stomach turned. "Jesus," he muttered. "Who the hell is she?" That night, as Mercer prepared his notes for a second round of questioning, a message arrived on his desk, unsigned, printed on cheap white paper. "Stop digging. You're not ready to know who she really is." No fingerprints. No camera footage of the delivery. Just the note. Mercer immediately ordered Jessica moved to a secure holding cell. But when Officer Ruiz went to check on her at 2:46 a.m., the cell door was open. Jessica was gone. Security footage showed her walking calmly down the hallway, barefoot, wearing her detention gown. No one stopped her. The cameras glitched for exactly 4 minutes, just long enough for her to vanish from the building. When investigators checked the footage frame by frame, they found something unnerving. As Jessica walked past each camera, her reflection in the glass panels didn't match her movements. By dawn, Mercer sat alone in the evidence room, staring at the Polaroid again. 2 women. 1 smile. He replayed the stop footage from Allison's dashcam, the moment Jessica said, "You don't want to open it." There was something in her tone, something that wasn't fear, it was warning. He leaned closer, freezing the frame at the moment her face turned toward the camera. Behind her, through the car window, barely visible, a faint silhouette in the backseat. And for a split second, he could swear it moved. The media storm hit the next morning. Trunk horror mystery. Suspect vanishes from police custody. Reporters swarmed the highway stop. Conspiracy forums lit up overnight, and every news anchor in America wanted to know. Who was Jessica Monroe, and where did she go? Detective Mercer didn't have answers. Only a trail of false identities, 2 dead victims, and a single Polaroid that shouldn't exist. But as he prepared to brief the press, a message appeared in his inbox. It was from an encrypted email with no sender. The subject line read, "You caught the wrong woman," and attached to it was a photo, taken just hours earlier. Jessica, or whoever she was, standing outside another gas station, somewhere miles away. Smiling.